Breaking news is unfolding tonight, and it is something you need to hear immediately because a quiet but significant shift has just taken place that could directly affect millions of older Americans living on fixed incomes. The White House has confirmed that President Trump has approved a $2,000 tariff rebate payment. But what makes this moment different is not just the amount of money, it is the sudden decision to move low-income seniors into a priority category that did not exist only days ago. This change happened quickly, almost silently, and most people still have no idea that their eligibility status may have just improved. For weeks, conversations about the rebate focused mostly on workers, middle-income families, and households dealing with rising costs tied to tariffs on imported goods. Seniors were mentioned occasionally, but they were never placed at the front of the line. They were treated more like an afterthought, included in theory but not in practice. That assumption has now been overturned. A fresh internal update reorganized how payments are prioritized, and seniors with limited or fixed income have suddenly moved much closer to the top. If you receive Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, or Social Security Disability Insurance, this development could matter more to you than anyone else. The Treasury has quietly adjusted the structure of the rebate program so that people who depend almost entirely on federal benefits are reviewed earlier and processed faster. Instead of waiting behind millions of working households, many seniors may now be evaluated first. The timing surprised even policy watchers. Earlier in the day, the program still looked like a standard rebate aimed at the broader population. Then, behind closed doors, economic reports highlighted how severely inflation has affected older Americans. Rent climbed. Groceries cost more. Utilities crept higher. Meanwhile, monthly benefit checks stayed the same. That gap between expenses and income became impossible to ignore. Officials reviewing the data saw that seniors living on fixed payments had less flexibility than almost any other group in the country. Once those findings reached the president, the tone reportedly shifted. The thinking became straightforward. If tariff revenue is being returned to the public, the people with the least room in their budgets should not be last to receive help. That logic triggered a fast review of the eligibility rules and set off the changes that were finalized tonight. Unlike past stimulus programs that required lengthy congressional negotiations, this rebate is funded through tariff collections. Money generated from taxes on imported goods is being redirected back to households. Because the funds already exist within the Treasury system, the distribution process can move forward once eligibility categories are defined. That flexibility allowed officials to revise the structure quickly without waiting for a new law to pass. What they created is not just a list, but a scoring model. Instead of treating everyone the same, the system evaluates income level, dependence on government benefits, purchasing power, and how stable a household's monthly resources are. Seniors who rely heavily on Social Security or disability benefits score high under this model because their income is predictable and limited. When prices rise, they cannot simply work extra hours or negotiate a higher salary. The math automatically places them among the most financially vulnerable. That vulnerability is exactly why they were elevated. The Treasury introduced what amounts to a tier system. Households are sorted into groups based on need and ease of verification. Those in the highest tiers are processed first. Seniors with low income, especially those whose only support comes from federal benefits, are now landing in those top tiers. There is also a practical reason for this change. Verification for many seniors is simpler. Their income records already exist within federal databases. Social Security and tax systems already know how much they receive each month. That means fewer forms, fewer manual checks, and fewer delays. In many cases, eligibility can be confirmed automatically, which allows payments to move faster. This is where the update becomes especially important. For many older Americans, there may be no application at all. If your benefits are already documented and your information is current, the system may handle everything internally. Instead of filling out paperwork or submitting new documents, you could be reviewed and approved using the records the government already has on file. The tiers themselves reveal how dramatic the shift is. The highest tier now includes households with very low annual income, and seniors whose monthly benefits fall below national averages. People who once expected to wait the longest are suddenly among the first in line. The second tier contains moderate income households that still qualify but may be processed later. The third tier includes cases that require extra verification or have higher incomes. In simple terms, many seniors skipped ahead. They did not just join the program, they advanced within it. Specific thresholds were also discussed in internal guidance. Seniors with annual income below roughly $30,000 appear to receive stronger priority scores. Those collecting disability benefits, supplemental payments, or survivor's benefits are flagged for expedited review. Individuals who filed little or no income tax returns in recent years may also benefit because the system now relies more heavily on Social Security data rather than traditional tax filings. There is even an additional focus on those with extremely limited monthly resources. Seniors receiving less than about $1,100 per month are being treated as highly vulnerable. Officials concluded that even small increases in everyday expenses hit this group especially hard. As a result, they were moved into the same fast-track category as other low-income seniors. Another concern many people have is whether this rebate will interfere with their existing benefits. According to the guidance tied to the program, it will not. The payment is considered separate assistance and not regular income. It should not reduce or replace Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, or disability checks. The intention is to provide extra relief, not to offset what you already receive. Of course, processing still takes time. Treasury must finalize lists, the Internal Revenue Service must confirm identities, and benefit accounts must be matched with direct deposit information. If your address is outdated or your bank details have changed, that could slow things down. That is why it is important to make sure your records are current in both Social Security and tax portals. A small mismatch can create unnecessary delays. Over the coming days and weeks, some people may receive notices asking them to verify their identity or confirm payment preferences. These messages are routine. Responding quickly helps keep you in the priority lane. Ignoring them could push your payment into a later round. Despite the administrative steps ahead, the bigger picture remains clear. Seniors are no longer standing at the back of the line. For the first time in this program, they are being treated as a leading group rather than an afterthought. That represents a meaningful shift in how assistance is targeted. For many older Americans, the past few years have been a strain. Fixed checks stretched thinner while everyday costs climbed. Decisions that once felt manageable became stressful. Groceries required careful planning. Medical bills carried more weight. Small price increases added up quickly. This rebate will not solve every challenge, but it could provide breathing room where it is needed most. If you are living on a limited monthly benefit, this moment matters. Check that your information is accurate. Keep an eye on official portals for updates. Stay alert for verification messages. Most importantly, understand that your situation is now recognized within the system in a way it was not before. The structure has changed, the priorities have shifted, and many seniors who once expected to wait may soon find themselves among the first to receive support. More details will continue to emerge, but tonight's update sends a clear message. Help is being directed toward those with the least flexibility, and for countless seniors across the country, that could make all the difference.